Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am making my keto bread. So this is gonna be a low carb, but this has been the best recipe that I have created so far in order to make keto bread. I'm making it in a loaf pan, and I will link the loaf pan down below because it is smaller than a regular loaf pan, but that just makes it so it's a little bit higher, so that way you can use it to make like sandwiches and stuff. This also does include yeast, and I really like including the yeast just because it really makes it have that bread flavor. If you can't have yeast, you can definitely remove that and not use it in the recipe, and the recipe will still work, but it just won't have as much of that bread flavor when you're eating it. And so that's what I really like about this one, is because I feel like the texture is a lot closer to regular bread, but the flavor is also really close. And so I'm really excited to show you guys this recipe. I made it a couple months ago and like perfected it, and then I just kept not having time to put it on my channel. So now it is going on my channel, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and just get right into the recipe. Okay, so first you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees to start getting that to heat up. This is the pan that we will be using. I have the measurements down below because I don't remember exactly what these are. It's like 3.5 by like 8 or something like that. But yeah, I just got this off of Amazon. It was a 2-pack, and I use it all the time with my keto baking. So I feel like I definitely got my money's worth out of it because I like that it's a little bit shorter this way. So that way the bread rises higher, and that way it makes keto breads more look like bread compared to if it's in the big loaf pan, then they'll just be really flat. The other ingredients that we're using today, we're going to be using some almond flour, and this I just get at Walmart. I usually just get the Walmart brand because it's the cheapest, and I've had no problems with it, and I just put it in this glass canister. Then we're also using some psyllium husk. I think that's how people said I should say it. But this is like a fiber supplement. You can find it usually back with the other fiber supplements at like Walmart or your local grocery store. So it's usually with like the vitamins and those types of things. So that's where I found it before. It might be in the baking aisle now because Walmart has been getting a lot better with including, you know, like keto baking stuff in the baking aisle. But if you can't find it there, it's definitely gonna be back in the fiber supplements. So I just get one that's already like ground. So that way it's like a flour type of thing, but that definitely adds more fiber and chewiness to the bread. So I definitely highly recommend getting that. Then we're also gonna use some apple cider vinegar. I just get this one from Aldi, and this is the raw apple cider, like unpasteurized, and I like love this stuff. I use it on my salads like all the time. I go through so many bottles of it. We're also gonna use some light olive oil. You can use avocado oil, but it is more expensive, but don't use extra virgin olive oil because the flavor is just so intense. But this is just a light olive oil, so the flavor is very light. This is also what I use for my homemade mayo. Then we're going to be using some instant yeast. So you want to have 1 packet of instant yeast. We're going to be using a bunch of eggs, so make sure you have eggs. And then also we're gonna be using some xanthan gum, which is like a keto thickener without it being like starchy. And so this we're only gonna be using a little bit of it, but it definitely is necessary because it gives that chewy factor. You have to be really careful with the xanthan gum because it can make your baked goods really terrible if you use too much, because it turns into like a gummy texture. So we don't want to do that. We're just going to use a little bit. So we also have to use some warm water. So I'm going to do 1/2 cup of warm water. So I have my 1/2 cup of warm water, and we're gonna do our almond flour, our psyllium husk, and our olive oil. So definitely let me know down in the comments if you like this type of recipe video better than my older recipe videos. So my older ones, I literally would just show the food and I would just do a voiceover. But this one, I wanted to change it up a little bit and just kind of do it more as if like I'm talking to you in the kitchen and cooking at the same time. So I'm hoping it's gonna turn out okay. But let me know down in the comments if you like this one, because then I'll do my recipe videos like this in the future. So we need to add 2.5 cups of almond flour to our bowl. We're also going to add 1/2 cup of the psyllium husk, and we're also going to add 1/2 cup of our light olive oil and our 1/2 cup of warm water. Okay, also add your pack of instant yeast, and we're gonna go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. And in case you get confused or I'm going too fast for you, the whole recipe will be down below in the description box for you. And so now we're gonna add our eggs after we gave it a good stir, and we're gonna do 4 egg whites and 2 eggs. So the reason that I do more egg whites is to make it not have as much of an egg consistency that a lot of the keto breads already have. And so that's why I do egg whites. If you're worried about your fat intake, you can try out making it with just all whole eggs, but I really enjoy this bread with more egg whites instead. Also add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. If you feel like your dough is too dry, you can always add a little bit more warm water. Make sure you don't throw away your egg yolks from the egg whites, especially these are from my friend's chickens, so they're super, super orange. And so I always save my egg yolks because I can use them when I make hollandaise sauce, which I absolutely love, or also mayo. So you can always freeze them if you want, but I usually just put them in a dish in the fridge and I use them within a couple days to make mayo or hollandaise, one of the two. So after you've incorporated everything together, I always use a fork to stir everything in. Now we're gonna add our dough to our loaf pan, and our oven is ready. I'm just going to put one of these unbleached parchment papers this way. I'm gonna put one of these unbleached parchment papers in my loaf pan just to make it easy for everything to come out. I believe when I've made it before, I didn't use one of these, so I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but I'm just afraid. Okay, once you have it in the pan and you have it pressed down just to make sure there's no like bubbles or anything in it, then we're going to put it in our oven and we're going to bake it for about an hour. It's really just gonna depend on the season, your oven, all of that type of stuff. So we're gonna put it in for an hour and then we'll test it, and that way I can show you what it's supposed to look like when it's done. All right guys, so the bread came out of the oven. It should cool a little bit longer, but I already sliced into it. So this is the bread. Yeah, but definitely let it cool down before you like actually slice into it, but I needed this for the video. So this is a little end piece and we're gonna put some butter on it. You can either use this as toast, put butter on it. I use it in like my eggs Benedict. Like I love toasting this up and then putting like a poached egg and like some Spam or ham or something, and then hollandaise. You also can like cut it really thin and use it for sandwiches. And I'm also going to be trying it out for stuffing, which is what the reason I like made this loaf is. I'm going to see if it makes a good Thanksgiving stuffing recipe. So, look at that. This is legit the best keto bread. And I love the like crisp crust. So I really hope that you guys try out this recipe and let me know down in the comments if you like this bread recipe. I don't know, I'm just really proud of myself for like creating this because it's really good. I haven't tried freezing it or anything, but I feel like it would freeze pretty well. But let me know down in the comments if you do freeze it and how it turns out. But we usually eat it so super fast, so I never need to actually freeze it. I think I love it so much because the yeast really makes it taste like bread. And then with the like psyllium and the xanthan gum, it has that like chewy factor. And so that's why I like really like it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Anyway, full recipe is down below in the description box. Let me know if you try it out, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye everyone.